Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna, this is my mom Gina.
He is the journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I am super enthusiastic because we're talking about not only football, but the Big 12.
Hey, Big 12 conference. We are in Big 12 country, and it is just, to me, obviously, I played in this conference.
You did.
Lived it my whole life. From the beginning. The beginning, you know.
And it was the Big 8.
The Big 8 was the original conference, and then with the Texas teams moving in, it formed to the Big 12. But with that being said, that is our show today. We're doing our Big 12 conference predictions and breakdown for this 2017 football season.
And we did all the other conferences on another show.
Yes, so we did. So please tune in. Type in my name, Adam Orduna, for YouTube, and see our Big 12, or not our Big 12, but the rest of the Power 5 conference breakdowns that we did. We did the Pac-12, SEC, the ACC, and the Big 10. There's a lot of good content there, so definitely go check it out. It's some really good stuff there. So,
but the Big 12 needs its own show.
Last and not least, the Big 12 does need its own show. So that's what we're going to do and talk about today. We're very lucky right now because we have 5 teams ranked in the top 25.
Yes, we do.
3 new coaches in the Big 12 conference, and they're all very good, very quality, dynamic young coaches. And this is going to be an exciting season, especially because K-State is ranked in the top 20 this year.
Yes.
Coach Snyder is 77 years old. He is still out there fighting and scrapping. He beat throat cancer throughout this offseason. He was coming back and forth to Kansas City for treatment, and he was cleared, and he is now back at the helm and running this program the way that it needs to be.
That is a complete elder statesman.
It is.
I mean, I know that was your coach, so people say, you know, we're prejudiced towards him, and that is true. This is just one of the most class acts in college football.
Yes, yeah, really we are definitely huge Coach Snyder fans.
Huge.
So, you know, we love him and what he's done for not just the young men that go to this program, but really just the overall state. People feel really good when you say his name and, you know, within Kansas.
Just a good person.
It is. So let's break this down here a little bit.
Okay.
Oklahoma has the #1 or the highest ranking out of the Big 12. And then you've got Okie State. So you got the 2 Oklahoma schools right now battling for those top spots.
At number 7 and number 10. So we got 2 teams in the top 10.
And that's really big. And then, as I said before, we have K-State coming in at 20. And you've got West Virginia at 22. And then Texas, who I don't think has really been a preseason top 25 team
in
quite some time. And now they're cracking the AP top 25. This year, and that's awesome.
I'll list the unranked teams, and we have Texas Tech, Iowa State, Baylor, TCU, and Kansas, who are not ranked.
Right.
But I think we have a couple of those teams that could shock some people in striking distance.
Exactly, and the thing about Baylor is they have gone through all of their stuff. I mean,
stuff is a good word.
That's really the only way.
There's other words you could use, but stuff is a good word.
There's a new book that just came out.
Oh my goodness!
They have cleaned house in every way possible. Matt Rule, who was the head coach up at Temple up there in Philadelphia, is now the new coach for Baylor. Young guy, got Temple to a relevant program, got guys drafted in the NFL. He is going to really rejuvenate that program in the right ways. They may not be super good this year, but they still may win 6 or 7 ball games because they still have athletes. And then I would say maybe 2 and 3 years down the road, they'll be back to that top 25 dominance. TCU, Coach Peterson is still there, and they are still good. He's a K-State alum, or at least he was with the staff for a while. They're going to be good. They probably could be potentially a top 25 team. They're going to make some noise this year as well. And then Texas Tech, obviously, Cliff Kingsbury, Coach
I like Cliff Kingsbury.
Young guy, has that program going in the right direction as well. Now, some people were kind of calling for his
People are saying he's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I think expectations are a little too high for what he's actually done there. But then I'll talk about Iowa State and Kansas. You know, here's the thing. Every conference has some teams that get beat up by everybody else in the conference. Iowa State is always a sleeper team.
Yes.
They're going to get somebody sometime.
Especially at home in Ames.
Well, and Kansas is the coach killer. Just be clear. If you lose to Kansas, you're getting fired. That's happening. But I will say this. I think Kansas is trying. They're trying to find an identity.
Yes.
They, you know, they're not happy losing, but they are putting up good battles.
Yes.
And it's really tough to be Kansas in the Big 12 during football season. I mean, it just is.
David Beatty is a good coach. He's been on that staff for a long time. It is hard to win at KU. And speaking of that, the 2008 Orange Bowl team will be honored this year for KU. So all the KU fans, all the KU football fans will kind of get to relive that. I think they're bringing back.
Were they 11-1 that year?
Yeah, they're bringing back Coach Mangino and Aqib Talib and some of those guys. I think will be back for that game. They're getting inducted.
Aqib Talib of the Broncos.
Yes, so
he's a thug, but I love him.
Yes, I mean they did have a nice little stretch there where they were winning and beating teams, and so that kind of gives them some KU football a little love there and kind of help them boost some things for at least this season. And so I know they've kind of had some players get dismissed from the team this offseason, quarterback and a receiver and cornerback. So we'll see what happens with them, but I do probably expect them to still kind of be on that lower realm than in Iowa State to kind of still kind of fight it out for the bottom part of the Big 12. But I do think Texas will definitely make some noise this year. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State definitely will be kind of the top teams, and then obviously we talked about K-State being in the top conversation as well.
Well, let's kind of talk about our top 4 teams because we kind of went from the bottom. So I'll agree with you. I think you're going to have Kansas and then Iowa State at the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know where Texas Tech is going to land or TCU, but you know it's tough. We didn't talk a lot about West Virginia yet, so I'm thinking in the middle of the pack is where you're going to have the biggest battle.
Correct.
Because you do have West Virginia, you do have TCU, you do have Texas Tech, you know, who I think has good athletes. They just need to click.
Yeah.
And then you got K-State, Okie State, Oklahoma, and Texas. So I really think it's going to be a battle.
Yes.
Clearly, Oklahoma has been a dominant team, but Lincoln Riley is new this year. Bob Stoops shocked everybody in April and just said, I'm out. So, you know, it's just, I just think there's too many unknowns.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you who I think my top 4 are going to be.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. I think Kansas State's going to be in one of the top 4 in that pole position.
I agree with that.
I believe it'll be Oklahoma. I believe it'll be Okie State. I'm not sure Texas is going to get there this year, and I'm going to say West Virginia.
Okay.
Those are the 4 I think are going to be at the top of the Big 12, and I think Texas will be right in the mix there. But it's going to take some time to get that program where it needs to be.
And I am going to go ditto on that as well. I think it will be a good year for Texas. I think they're going to have a good year. They may win 8 to 9 ball games. They will go to a bowl game, and it won't just be by invite. They will actually make it there because of their record and because they beat teams. But I do think West Virginia is going to still have that 4th spot there. They've got a big game against Virginia Tech this weekend. So it would be really good for them to beat Virginia Tech to just kind of set the stage for the Big 12 and kind of where they are. So, yeah, I definitely agree. Kind of flip-flop between the Oklahoma schools, K-State, West Virginia. Then I do see a Texas there. TCU will be right in the mix. Then probably a Texas Tech, Baylor, Iowa State, and KU to kind of round it out there.
I agree with that.
It's going to be a fun season because, like we said, we do have 3 new football coaches in this conference. Tom Herman at Texas, Matt Rule at Baylor, and then Lincoln Riley for Oklahoma. And so those guys will have a lot of
what else
pressure
is
on
new
them.
in the Big 12 this year?
Yeah, well, we will have a conference championship game, which is huge. And so that's a huge aspect to what needs to take place to make sure or ensure that the Big 12 doesn't dissolve or dissipate. They did just re-sign the Big 12 commissioner for an extended period.
2025 or something
so
crazy like that.
I don't
22.
see the Big 12 dissolving like everyone claims that they will.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
But they do need to go pick up some other schools. That's just the bottom line. There's we've gone through our own scenarios a couple different times, and we'll continue to bring that up. There are a laundry list of teams that could immediately impact
Cincinnati, Toledo, USF.
Yeah, USF, UCF, Colorado State, Memphis. The list honestly goes on. You can even pick up a Tulsa. I know we don't want necessarily another Oklahoma or Texas school, but there are other schools.
Well, they're definitely not letting another Texas school in.
They're definitely not letting other schools.
There's enough schools to go get.
There was talk about Houston and what they
happening.
may be able to bring, but that's not going to take place.
Yeah, that's not happening.
But I think the Big 12 has to go pick up 2 more teams just to baseline it and then continue on with the conference championship. That's also very big. And so we will be hoping that will take place here soon, especially with the re-signing of the commissioner. Having the championship game, I think, is also a big step forward.
Who do you have in the championship game, real quick?
Yeah, as we're talking about that, I do have Kansas State making it back to the championship game this year. There's a lot of good things going on there. Obviously, you could say, oh, well, you're saying that because you're K-Stater. That's true, but I do believe in their team this year. They're going to be good. And then it'll probably be an Oklahoma school. It'll probably be Okie State or OU. So K-State or OU, I think, this year.
You're going to go OU?
I'm going to go OU.
I'm going to shock everybody and go K-State, Oklahoma State.
Okay,
yeah. Because, I mean, I know they still have Baker Mayfield, but I think when you switch coaches like that, there's an adjustment period. There's a bump in there.
There is.
And Oklahoma's been struggling more than people give them credit for.
Yes.
Oklahoma State is running on all cylinders. I'm going to see a K-State, Okie State Big 12 championship.
I think that would be a great championship game.
I
I'm
think it would
excited for this season to finally get kicked off, even though this last season or this last week kind of was the unofficial kickoff to college football. This Labor Day weekend is the full kickoff.
We're not answering the phone. We got beer and nachos.
Check Twitter because that's what we'll be on.
Don't call. Exactly. Don't knock on the door.
Yeah, right. We will be locked in. We got high school football starting off in Kansas. We got some big games taking place. We got college football already kicked off, but this is the first full weekend of it. And so we are going to be football every day, every hour. So
I mean, I can change my clothes for 3 days.
Right. Well, we want to say we appreciate your time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page. And we'll see you again, folks. Thanks for watching.